So while I was grinding between parts 20 and 21, it finally hit me, like, why the combat system in this game doesn't quite land for me. And it's very simply because the action points regenerate to full after every battle, rather than the game using an MP system that gradually wears down from fight to fight. And I thought about Blue Reflection and why that game was so brain dead easy on normal mode, or easy mode, as it should have been called. And I realized that these two games have the same thing going on, where because they have you restore your main resource for fighting enemies after you fight every enemy, the battles themselves have to be individually challenging, otherwise they wouldn't be engaging. And the result of that is that every single battle needs to take up some significant amount of your time, or else, you just won't have anything to do.
Yeah.
You'd face roll every battle and it wouldn't be any fun. So like, your HP goes down between fights, yeah, but that usually isn't too much of a problem because you regain your HP at every level up. So, like, the random battles aren't wearing down your resources at all, unless you're using items to beat them. So the only way the random battles can force you to do that is by being, like, really time-consuming and hard. I had to use a lot of perfumes, manicures, that kind of thing to get through the random battles while I was grinding, until I had gotten my party up to a level where they could kill the enemies in a reasonable amount of time. And then once I started to do that, the battles weren't hard, but they were time-consuming. Oh, hey, it's the Black Lady. So the thing about the Black Lady is that before Chibi-Usa here became Sailor Chibi-Moon, she turned into a seasoned villain in the form of the Black Lady. And
no, man, we have Beryl, Demand, Black Lady. It really is the Sailor Moon No Way Home. Hello, Usagi.
Well, I mean, you could make that joke, but really, Sailor Moon is, like, stuffed full of time travel as it is.
Oh,
so this is another day at the office for her. Like, pretty much every arc after arc 1 has to do with time travel in some capacity. No, I tell a lie. Arc 3 doesn't have much time travel, but boy does the time travel come back in arcs 4 and 5, I think.
All right, Chibi-Usa, beat yourself up.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. So, unfortunately, we're still in the territory where the random battles take forever to finish. So, that says what you would expect it to say of the boss fights. The thing about the boss fights is you only have to bubble spray them once. And then they can't really touch you. So, like, I am now in no danger of losing. Everything that this boss does is just going to waste my time. So, but the kind of strange thing about the two bosses you fight in this area is that the first one is the more difficult one. And by the more difficult one, I mean the one that takes longer to beat. Black Lady here takes a while. But then you fight Oppositio Sin right after her, and I don't know, she takes like half as much time.
Oh, wow.
And I don't understand why. Why would you design it that way? I have a suspicion that they meant these bosses to be reversed. Where, like, maybe you'd go through the dungeon and encounter Oppositio Sin and fight her, and then as she's making her getaway, maybe the Black Lady would cover her escape. But, I don't know. I guess they decided to reshuffle it so that you wouldn't have to fight two bosses completely back-to-back again. And they just sort of randomly dump the Black Lady on you the moment you enter this dungeon, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, that is pretty random.
But, like, okay. The Black Lady's kind of an interesting villain because I think I said this in an earlier part, but Chibi-Usa's like damage is that she's eternally a child.
Eternally
like
small.
she's like over 100 years old,
Mhm.
but she hasn't grown up. She's just stuck in chibi form for some reason. And she really, really wants to grow up.
She's insecure about it.
Yeah, and she has reason to be. Some
Mhm.
people in the future have literally mocked her for it. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how deep the 90s anime goes into that, but yeah, like she's in almost every other aspect grown up, but she's stuck in a child's body and she really doesn't want to be. So the Black Lady is this fully grown, graceful looking fantasy version of herself, essentially. And I think that's pretty interesting. I do know that at some point in the 90s anime they did have a more comedic arc where Chibi-Usa became an adult. um I'm not sure if that was in an episode or in a movie or what.
It's been forever.
I've only ever seen it in the clips on YouTube, because YouTube is like stuffed to bursting with clips of the old Deke dub, which mostly exists to preserve how amazing that dub was. Like, if there's a scene worth remembering for how narmy the voice acting sounded, it's on YouTube. Boy, is it.
I know, Saturn's a zombie.
Nah, that's just poison.
Looks like a zombie, though. She went to grayscale.
We need more cologne.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. The UI is pretty terrible about showing a lot of things, but it does have some like really specific animations for the different status effects. Unfortunately, by this point in the game, you'll notice another shortcoming of the game, and that's the fact that all of the enemies in the game have the same handful of 5 attacks. Everyone has Whirlwind Cut, everyone has Illusion, everyone has Toxic Mist, everyone has the same 5 attacks, and it gets really, really old really quickly. Like, I don't know, they could have mixed it up a little. But, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was standard, at least, for enemies to have more than just a small handful of stock attacks in RPGs around then, so I'm not really sure why it is the way it is. Maybe it was a time constraint, because I can imagine it being a lot easier to design a game when you only need to, like, decide what the enemy's stats are and which of the 5 attacks they have, and how often they use which ones. Man. We're gonna be here for a while longer, because goddamn, this enemy is an HP sponge like nothing else.
She's a strong lady.
That's the reason that the guide that I looked at recommended grinding to level 30 before this boss fight. Actually, the recommended level for this boss fight is level 35. Not because it will defeat you, but because at level 35 you can put the boss down in a reasonable amount of time. But that would have required like another 6 hours of grinding, probably.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm just like, no, life's too short.
I mean, you do have emulators, so you could just speed it up, but...
I mean, kind of ish, but at the same time, like, the really time-consuming part is selecting the attacks every turn, because I can't just do the same thing over and over. I need to restore my action points, and I need to restore my health every so often. I need to make sure to cure the selfishness, which
Those
is
take
the
up
confusion.
turns.
I need to restore the confusion whenever that happens, because that happens fairly often. In the North Pole area, there are 2 random enemies, and one of them likes to use the illusion spell a lot. So just in general, the grind was a massive headache, and I didn't want to deal with that for much longer. Fortunately, these 2 bosses collectively give you enough experience points to push your characters up quite a few levels.
Heck
And then
yeah.
the boss after these 2 is a really easy boss fight that I think is just there so that Sailor Moon can catch up to the rest of the party if she fell behind. So yeah. In any case, it's just, at this point I start to really not not like the fighting all that much, and we're still here. Oh god. How many colognes am I gonna use? It's just like every other turn, the Sailor Scouts are like, okay, time out.
They're gonna be doused.
We need to freshen up.
I can't breathe.
And the Black Lady's like, oh yeah, I know how it is. Don't worry, I'll wait for you.
I'll fan someone in your direction. Don't worry. That's it.
God. I mean, her strongest attack at this point is Whirlwind Cut. And because I hit her with Bubble Spray at the beginning of the fight, she can't do anything with that. The only character in my party who takes any significant damage from it at all is Venus. And that's just because her defense is relatively low. But, like, she doesn't take damage quickly enough for me to need to worry about it. Eventually, I'll just use a toilet instead of a cologne, because that heals your action points too. The only thing the toilet doesn't do is cure status ailments. I tested that at one point. It restores all your health and all your action points, which makes it a good mid-boss recovery thing. The problem with selfishness as a status ailment is that if you had 2 characters use a link attack, like I had Mercury and Jupiter both just use their link attack with each other. If one of them gets, hit by the selfishness spell, what winds up happening is that neither character can do their action for that turn. So one thing that kind of bugs me is that no matter how high leveled I get, it always seems like the enemy gets to go before my characters do when the turn starts. And I'm not really sure why that is. Like, I would think my fastest character would at least be able to get an attack before them. But even when I'm like very blatantly over leveled for the enemies that I'm fighting, they just don't. I don't know why. Like, are we in like Shin Megami Tensei territory where all the enemies go and then all the party members go regardless of speed? Okay, so I'm not really sure why Venus and Saturn have a link attack with each other, but it turns out it's actually a really good link attack. So, yeah. Also, keep in mind, this is me with an attack buff.
Oh, wow.
So this is me with a lot more attack power, and it's still taking this long. Ugh.
Solid 10 minutes.
3 hours later. Hey, Black Lady, can you move it along? I'm running out of time cards.
Okay, so, like, I'm trying to think of trivia about, like, Arc 2 or something to go on a tangent about, but I'm actually drawing a blank, because the only, like, part of Arc 2 that ever pops into my head when I think about Arc 2 is Chibi-Usa holding Usagi up at gunpoint.
Oh yeah, for the crystal.
Yeah, they kept that in the 90s anime, although I'm pretty sure it was cut from the Deke dub. Or maybe they did Yu-Gi-Oh! Finger guns, I don't know.
I think it really I think that more had to do with whatever network you were on more than anything else. Because I remember the Deke dub being on, like, a similar block for like the WB stuff at the time. And the WB block had no problem with like Batman the Animated Series having all the goons, firing guns and stuff. So I think it really just has more dependent on what network you were on.
Maybe, but like that never stopped 4Kids.
Oh no, that never stopped 4Kids. That was self-imposed on their part, but
yeah, but Deke is one of those really family-friendly companies. Like they added the whole Sailor Moon Says thing to the show too.
That was just that was just a popular '90s thing more than anything else. But
yeah, I know. But the point was, if you were doing a cartoon at the time, and you weren't Warner Brothers, you kind of had to do that kind of shit.
Sonic and Sailor Moon Says.
I kind of wish Animaniacs had a wacky Says.
Oh no, they do. No, they do.
At the end. They do.
Yeah, the wheel of morality. Turn, turn, turn. Teach us a lesson that we should learn.
Oh, right. I remember. And it was never a good lesson.
Early to rise and early to bed makes a man healthy, but socially dead.
I forgot about that. Okay, so someone did think of the joke that I just thought of, and I just didn't remember because it's been that many years since I've watched Animaniacs.
And one time they actually did win the $10,000 prize.
I need to go back and watch Animaniacs and Freakazoid and those shows.
Freakazoid came out 5 years too early.
Yeah, it did.
If it came out a few years later and premiered on Adult Swim, it would have been way more popular.
Yes, it would have. So much poison. Damn it. The thing about the status ailment spells in this game is that when they hit you hard. But they only hit you about like 1/5 of the time. So, like, most of the time when they cast the spell, you don't have to worry about it. But then there's always that 1 in 5. There's always that 1 in 5 times where the person you really wanted to do a specific thing on a given turn gets charmed. Like, I set myself up sometimes. Like, okay, Venus gets charmed. So I decide to have Mercury use the curing item so that my other characters can do something because she's in the back. So she can't really attack for worth a damn. She might as well be the item user. But then the next turn, the enemy uses illusion again and charms Mercury before she can get the item out. So now I've got 2 characters that are charmed and no one's healed them. It's a pain in the butt.
Pain in the buttocks, indeed. You think she's almost dead?
Well, we got 11 minutes left, so... Hey, there she is. Good timing.
Oh! That was great timing.
Excellent timing.
I had a feeling.
So, just for context, I think that battle took us...
About
15 minutes?
About
16 minutes, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
You fools.
Why would we regret that? Why would we ever want to go back to Chibi-Usa being you? And now we get to see what the random battles in this area are like. And we get the twin monsters that are really, really goddamn annoying. Are they dual-wielding swords?
It looks like it. Like machetes or something. Really long machetes.
Fun fact, dual wielding is actually like one of the least efficient ways to fight.
It is, like, really hard to actually do properly because the human body just doesn't work correctly that way.
Yeah.
But, like...
You're more likely to injure yourself that way than someone else.
Basically, you need a ton of practice.
And a lot of upper body strength.
That too, yes. But, like... It's cool, man.
I got 2!
It's really cool. Although, technically, it's not dual-wielding that's inefficient. It's dual-wielding weapons of equal length that's inefficient. Like, there are legitimate ways to dual-wield melee weapons, but they usually involve a main-hand weapon that's made for offense, and a shorter weapon in the offhand that's made for parrying. So you're not doing the same thing with both arms the whole time. But, like, yeah,
Now I gotta flail your arms around wildly and do tons of damage.
I gotta
That's how it
spend
works.
even more setup time at the beginning of every fight now because I don't have Sailor Moon with me and I can't just use Healing Shower. I don't know why it's called Healing Shower when what it does is buff your attack, but yeah.
Mm.
Also, I have a lot of Metis herbs from Metis Village, and those like give you action points for the entire party. So it's just like, yeah, man. Oh, damn it, Venus.
Oh.
This is the battle I was talking about when I talked about how annoying it was to have everyone get charmed before they get a chance to do the thing you wanted them to do in the battle.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm pretty sure what's about to happen is I'm about to have Mercury try to try to cure Venus's selfishness. That's what that status ailment is called for some reason. Selfishness.
Good luck with that.
I had to
Good luck with that, Mercury. You're gonna be here all day.
I had to look that up because I couldn't for the life of me figure out what selfishness was when I looked at it in the item descriptions. Damn it. Healing spell. Okay. But like, okay. Damn it.
Me.
Damn it.
Oh.
Damn it. Damn it.
Well, at least Venus did a kick.
The problem is that, as you saw last turn, she can do that on our party members and do significant damage to them. And she has an attack buff on now, so I was actually really counting on her not being charmed. At least it isn't Phantasy Star 4. I can actually read what the item names are in this game. That's definitely helpful. Okay, past me. What are you even thinking of doing right now? Just attack. Thank you.
Stop using that. Yes, and it gets right back
Damn.
on her.
Damn it. Come on.
Give us a break.
Congratulations, Venus. We cured yourself of this. Never mind. I want to be selfish again.
I'm having Chibi-Usa use the healing item this time because she's just faster than Venus is. Okay, let's see. What's next? Right, I need to restore some spirit points. Please just kill one of them. Soon, preferably. That would be nice. Fortunately, this is the last area in the game so far that I played where the random battles take quite this long. But like, yeah, these random battles take forever. They give you a lot of XP though, so it's not a bad grinding place. Or it wouldn't be a bad grinding place if the enemy didn't use the selfishness spell quite so often. But like, it's really hard to be efficient at fighting these battles when every other turn Sailor Venus is getting charmed and you have no way to deal good damage to the enemy because your front row fighters are the only ones who can do that and they keep getting charmed. Venus, please stop getting charmed. You're Sailor Venus. You're supposed to charm them.
Exactly. Use your powers of love to charm them.
You know, I'd be a little less irritated at the status effects, though, if I could use status effects myself.
Oh, it's a Shin Megami Tensei problem.
Well, in most SMT games, the status effects are useful. I'm not really sure what they were smoking when they designed 5. But, like, in Persona 5 Royal, for example, I use status effects fairly regularly on the enemies, just to keep them out of my hair. Like, if you can lay out a stagnant air spell, you can hit the enemy with pretty much any status ailment, and it will probably stick. which means, among other things, that you can instantly win any battle if you just have a multi-target despair spell. But, you know... well, I say instantly, but once you hit the enemy with despair, you basically just sit there for 3 turns, letting your SP regeneration skills kick in, and then the enemy dies of despair, because that's how that works. It's a little dark, actually, having a status ailment called Despair that kills your enemies after 3 turns.
I think it's pretty dark.
They just spontaneously die after 3 turns if they don't manage to cure themselves.
I mean, even Pokemon has one of those.
Yeah, but it's called Despair, so it kind of has a dark implication as to why they die.
I mean, they just want to go to Persona 3.
They just want to go to Persona 3. Who would ever want to go to Persona 3? Oh, man.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not dunking on Persona 3 as a story, but as a gameplay experience, it's not great. It's very rough around the edges. Despite being the 3rd game in the series, it has a lot of first game in series problems.
It's almost like Persona 1 and 2 are almost completely different series to 3, 4, and 5.
Yes, they are. I wish they'd remake 1 and 2 so that I could experience those stories with, like, less dated games attached to them. Because, like, I can hardly stand to play Persona 2. And Persona 1 is a first-person labyrinth game, which is always fun and never unfun in any game ever. I'm like an insane liar, and you shouldn't listen to me.
Oh my god, these 2 things still alive.
Yes, they're still alive. This is what I was talking about. Imagine what it's like to fight battles like this for 3 hours straight.
Oh my gosh.
This game. And you know what makes it like double worse is that for this point in the game, the grind begone mod actually like seriously bites you in the ass, because you could walk around in circles for like 2 minutes at a stretch and not encounter any random battles, because that's just how lowering the encounter rate works sometimes, you know?
Mm.
And it's not like it's a mod that you can switch on and off as you need it to happen. So finally,
1.
I like that pointing animation. This is like, I feel like I could just put the deal with it sunglasses on her sprite, and it would just perfectly fit that frame. She'd be like, "Hey." All she'd be missing is like, I don't know, a pompadour. Maybe she could fashion her fringe into a pompadour.
Yep.
All she would need then is a little subtitle that says "Tunnel Snakes Rule." Let's see.
Any kids in the comments will not get that one.
Oh, I don't know. Anyone who's played more than 5 minutes of Fallout 3 will get that one.
Yeah, and Fallout 3 was how long ago?
I mean, it's not that long
wasn't
ago.
that long.
I mean, if people remember Oblivion and Skyrim, they remember Fallout 3.
Fair.
I mean, you know,
Alright.
Fallout 3 might be a little less memorable. There's a substantially lower quantity of potato faces.